Alright, so in this video we're going to kind of go over the three main rules for derivatives. So there's going to be product rule, quotient rule, and chain rule. So again, just to go over super quick review, product means multiply, quotient means divide, and chain, you're going to look for a function inside a function. And I'll kind of clarify what this says, but chain rule is generally the one that's the most difficult for students to identify. So we're just going to go through these problems. We're not going to actually do them, but we're going to talk about what rules are present in the problem and why. So assume anytime that there's a function, it's asking you to find the derivative of that function. So I guess starting off, this one is going to be quotient rule because of the division sign. That's a pretty easy one to identify. So this could also, really quickly, be written as g of x is 6x squared times 2 minus x to the negative 1. Anytime you see negative 1 here, it's going to mean that it's on the bottom of the fraction. So you're going to move it down and put it over there. So that's what this looks like. So just know that anytime it's a fraction or you see a negative exponent, that means it's divided, which usually means you want to use quotient rule. Moving on to the next one. So this one's got two parts. So you've got the t squared and the natural log of t to the fifth. So anytime you see a natural log or another function like a trig function or something like that, it'll have parentheses. If something is attached to it that's not in parentheses, that means it's being multiplied to it. So the fact that this is being multiplied means that it's going to be product rule. But also, here you have a natural log function. So this is your first function. And then you have an exponential function inside of that log function, or natural log function. So again, remember how I said up here, you're looking for a function inside of a function for chain rule. You have a function here inside of the natural log parentheses. So then that part is going to be chain rule. And in a video where we're actually doing out the problems, I'll explain how you would do two rules in one. But I'm just going through with this video and identifying what rules there are. So continuing on, this one, the 5 is alone. So the 5 you can pretend is just the normal power rule. Here you have an e, so an exponential function with a really complicated exponent. So anytime the exponential function's exponent is not just the normal letter, so e to the x, in this case e to the t, or e to the whatever, just one single letter, it's going to be chain rule. Because anytime this function is not the simplest it can be, that means you're going to use chain rule. So because of this piece right here, this is going to require chain rule. So again, it's really nice to have all these problems laid out that have the rules identified, but sometimes it's not just find the derivative. Sometimes the problems will require that one of the steps is finding the derivative. So here, it's asking for where it's increasing and decreasing. But the first step to doing that is taking the derivative of the original function. And again, because we're only going through the rules that are present, I'm just going to identify this as quotient rule because of this dividing function right here. So again, that's quotient rule because of the division that's going on in the function. And going on to the next couple problems. So pause this and do these problems on your own really quick. I'm going to get like 2 or 3 seconds between each explanation, and pause it and see if you got it right. So for this one, what do you think it is? This one is quotient function because of that division. How about this one? This one is product rule because of this function right here being multiplied by this function right here. And in this problem, it was really nice because it was already separated by parentheses and it was already two polynomials being multiplied. But it won't always be that easy. So all you do is look for two functions that are being multiplied by each other. But that's product. How about this one down here? This one's actually chain rule. So you know that because you have this function right here. This is the first function, and it's being raised to a power, and that power is going to be your second function. So essentially what you're doing is you're calling this piece, you're taking that piece and plugging it into what should be like a y to the fourth. So you're just calling this whole piece y. So this would be your, this is essentially what the second function is, and you're calling y equal to this. How about this one? This one is another chain rule because of the tangent function here. That's your first function. And then your polynomial here is your second function. And the polynomial is inside of the tangent function. And how about this last one down here? Okay, again, so it's asking where it's increasing and decreasing. So it's not just to find the derivative, but you need to find the derivative to accomplish this problem. So the rule associated with this problem would be product rule, because you have one function here multiplied by this function here. So again, this one was nicely separated by parentheses, but it could be anything like t squared times the sine of t, because here's one function, t squared, multiplied by sine of this function. So the sine function is its own, so there's one function, and the t squared is its own, so there's the second function, and they're being multiplied together. So here are just a couple examples. There's a video that describes the rules and gives a bunch of practice problems for just those rules, and there's a video about actually solving a couple of these problems that are more complicated, like the ones that are two rules in one. And that's it for this video. So go check out those other videos if you have time, or if you're still stuck on some of these concepts, and good luck.